I'm backing up my truck, I'm gonna hook it up, loading up my boat with all my gear. I've been working hard all week, trying to make ends meet, spending time wishing I was fishing. Oh, Terry Wickstrom wants to take you fishing. Gather up your gear and come along. Well, Terry Wickstrom wants to take you fishing. Mountain States fishing all day long.
Mountain States Fishing is brought to you every week by Sun Enterprises, the largest ATV dealer in the West and one of the largest ATV dealers in the world. Sun carries Honda, Kawasaki, and Polaris motorcycles and ATVs. For an unbelievable deal on an ATV or a motorcycle, check them out at sunent.com or stop by 88th and Washington in Denver. That's sunent.com. Hey, this is a really kind of bittersweet moment for me. What you're watching will be the final episode of Mountain States Fishing. Over 12 years and over 600 episodes later, who'd have thought I'd be sitting here in front of you looking back and going over the memories, but it's still pulling at my heart quite a bit. You know, we started Mountain States Fishing with the concept that we wanted to take you places and show you ways that you could fish and enjoy it, no matter what level of angler you were. Maybe introduce you to a new spot, or maybe show you a technique that you could take to a local spot and use. But the intent of the show was always to be about the fishing and to make it so that anybody could go do it and not to be about me. And the accolades and the thank yous we've gotten from you in the years has really given us a heartfelt appreciation that you enjoyed that concept. You know, the very first episode of Mountain States Fishing started with that concept as we went out on a local bass pond just north of Denver, Colorado, with a physically challenged individual to go bass fishing using basic plastic worms right here in your backyard.
Oh, nice jump. Oh. Nice fish. See him in the water there? Oh, come on, baby. Come on.
Nice fish. Here we go.
All right. Nice fish.
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, these fish are so healthy. This is so much fun.
It's a nice fish.
I'm so mad that you pulled me away from a day at the office to come out here and do this.
I'll bet.
Let's let him go and get a couple more.
Let's go.
Doesn't seem like that could have been over 12 years ago that we filmed that episode. You know, in the early years, I tried to draw a lot of my own expertise as a tournament fisherman, bass, walleye tournaments, as an outdoor writer, and getting to fish with some of the best fishermen in the world. We took you to places and showed some of the walleye, bass, northern pike, warm water species that I'd grown up with. And we also took you ice fishing, which was always one of my favorites and one of my fortes. In fact, let's take an early clip back on an ice fishing episode filmed right on Lake John right here in Colorado. Got one. Oh man, tangled in the Vexar cord.
Yeah, he was.
I was jigging him. I watched him come on the screen. I don't know how many times he swam by that lure. I got my drag set a little tight here.
Well, see, this looks like a little better fish.
It could, you know, I haven't been ice fishing enough lately to tell you. It's okay. I don't think it's a monster, but I might have to help you reach down and land him because I'm
on that Swedish pimple.
Swedish pimple, and I saw him come in. I jigged him in. And I watched him, and he was on the screen a bunch of times.
Oh, that's a nice fish.
Oh yeah, it is a nice fish.
Yeah.
Oh.
Watch your drag.
You know, this light gear ice fishing.
It's fun.
Oh,
it is.
This happens to be 6 pound, but a lot of times I'll have 4 pound or 2 pound with those little jigs. And I tell you what, you got to play. I tell you what, you get to be a good fisherman.
Yes, you do.
You learn to play fish. You learn to use a jig.
Especially, you've got the potential for an absolute hog in this lake.
Oh, I know.
I mean, you've got, this is a pretty nice fish here.
If we can get once you get the head in the hole, you're in pretty good shape. I think I can get him.
Can you get him?
I think so.
I'll take him right by the hook.
There
That's a nice fish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a 17, 18-inch fish there, boy.
Swedish pimple with a waxworm. I jigged it, and he came on the screen, and he swam away, and I jigged it, and I'll show you a little bit the action I was using just to show you I caught him. Get him back in the water.
Beautiful, healthy Lake John.
Oh. You know, even in those early years, though, we still depended on getting the perspective of a lot of other anglers on the show to try to bring you the best information we could, to try to open up new possibilities, new locations. We drew on guys that had specific expertise, like Gary Darling, showing us how to use electronics as we trolled for walleyes on Glendo Reservoir.
What we've done now is we're just pulling into an area where we think there's fish. Now, what are the keys we look for, Gary? First, you chose this area because it's an area that has the kind of structure and the basins that would hold suspended fish.
Yeah, right now the fish have all been in the trees for some time because all the bait fish have been spawning in the trees. All the bait fish are about done spawning now, and the water's dropping just a little bit, so we expect the fish to come out and suspend in this bay. And so what we want to do with electronics is we want to set the electronics on manual and set it to about 20 feet. Even though we might be over 60, 70 feet of water, we want to set the electronics about 20 feet. That way we can see what's, 10 feet, 5 feet deep below the boat. If you leave it set deep, you won't see the fish in,
You just
in
don't
the
have
upper
enough
third.
resolution.
You don't have
Yeah.
enough resolution. They look really small, and you don't believe that there's really fish there. So it's really key that you go ahead and set your depth finder on manual and go ahead and set it about 20 feet.
So what we're going to do is we're going to look for bait fish, and we're going to look for fish suspended in the upper part of the water column.
That's exactly what we're going to do.
You know, Gary touched on a real important part of what we're doing now. All fishing is situational. You don't do this all times of the year because the fish aren't going to be here all times of the year. Earlier this year in the spring, the water is real high in this reservoir. The bait fish are back in the brush spawning. Those fish are concentrated back and they're eating those bait fish. What's happening now, the bait fish are done spawning, they're starting to school. It's a shad base, and they're a pelagic fish that roams the open basins of the reservoir. So they're done spawning now, they've grouped together, and they're starting to roam the reservoir. Well, the walleyes, the water's dropping, pull the bait fish out, they're done spawning, the brush is starting to uncover. Those walleyes don't have the easy ambush feeding they had in the brush anymore, but they've got these big schools of fish. They're going to come out and start working on these schools of fish.
You know, in the course of filming Mountain States Fishing and trying to bring you opportunities that you could take advantage of, whether they were new places or new techniques, I knew I'd have to rely on other people. I can't be an expert on every type of fishing, and I'm not arrogant enough to think that there aren't people who know even more about the things I do better than I do. So we drew on a lot of these people over the years to make sure we brought you really good information about techniques and fishing. People who, like in the beginning, started with me, Tom Bruno. People like author Barry Reynolds. Local guide and angler, bass tournament fisherman Troy Coburn. Rookie of the Year on the Professional Walleye Trail, Western Rookie of the Year, Dan Swanson. And of course, the venerable Bernie Keefe, who you've all laughed and joked with and enjoyed both on TV and the radio. One of, just a tremendous lake trout fisherman. People from the fly fishing world, like Janice O'Shea and Bob Jacklin. Local people I saw grow up as they learned to fish and share what they learned with us, like Jeff Looney. And even world champion anglers like walleye all-time money winner, world champion Ron Seelhoff.
So it's really important to know how the lures run and understand what you're using. Now, do you put those lures down in the water and look at them to see how they're running before you go?
The shad wraps I get as much lax with as any of them, but I've mentally, I seldom ever let a lure out without looking at it in the water. And when it looks right to me, then I will use, the speed and everything. That's how I generally tell what looks right. And then there's some days when a little bit slower makes a slight amount of difference than maybe going a little bit faster. Then you get in current, see? It all changes again. If you're in river current, you're barely moving, but the current of the water is moving so fast that your boat may barely be moving, and this lure is still keeping the same speed that you want. If we're going through numbers of fish, every fish, or matter of fact, especially when you get into big fish, you've really got to monitor the way the lure runs. That's probably one of the...
So every time you catch a fish, you've got to put that lure by the boat and
And
watch
it just takes
running.
a second, if you know what you're looking for. I generally put it in the water, give my rod a quick pull forward, which is actually faster than what I'm trolling, and that will tell me instantly, because the more speed, where it runs good at 1 mile an hour, if you kick it up to 3.5, it's going to tell you.
So you're telling them run it in the boat and then pull your rod forward, so you
Yes.
speed up the lure and you get an idea of how it's running.
Exactly.
One other thing, you're talking about bending hooks. Hooks
Yes.
are probably a good subject. Now here we have one without hooks on it. You
Yes.
take the factory hooks off most of these, don't
Yes,
you?
yes.
Tell us why.
Well, I use, one of my sponsors is Gamakatsu, and they have one of the sharpest, finest hooks on the market. And not that these other hooks don't catch fish, but if you're fishing for a lot of money, you know, you want every advantage and every edge that you can. And I have not found a hook that will hold up any longer or is anything sharper than the Gamakatsu hook.
You know, a lot of the things we bring you wouldn't have been possible without the help and cooperation of clubs and government organizations. The Walleye Club, the Bass Clubs, Muskies Inc., Trout Unlimited, the Fly Fishing Federation, and I know I'm going to leave some out, but just all these organizations have been so great for their people to share their time and share their information with us. Government organizations, the various fish and wildlife organizations throughout the area. Colorado Division of Wildlife has been greatly involved in both our radio and television. And Colorado State Parks was more than willing to give us an interview and share information whenever we needed it.
Well, we're up at Sylvan Lake. I'm with Doug Sechrist, the park manager. Doug, I want to thank you for inviting us up to your place. It's really beautiful up here.
Well, you're welcome. Glad to have you.
You've been on the radio show a number of times talking about it. You called me so much I finally had to come up and fish it, you know.
There you go.
And it really does live up to expectations. You know, you're going to see us fishing and catching the different species of fish. Well, we can talk about the fishing first. There's brown trout and there's brook trout and rainbows, and you said maybe some cutbows or cutthroats?
Yeah, we've heard reports that there might be cutbows in there as well.
But we really wanted to highlight the park's cabin and yurt system. Now, you've got great campgrounds here. How many campsites do you have?
We've got 46 campsites.
And those are open, some of those are open year-round?
Well, we try to keep one of the lower loops open year-round for the people that want to come up to camp during the wintertime. But the main portion of the campground kind of gets shut down by itself because we get quite a bit of snow up here.
We're actually staying in the cabins from the cabin and yurt system, which I think, I've been a big proponent of it. You've heard me talk about it on the radio. You've seen it featured on some other television shows. I think it's just such a great thing that the state parks has done, building these cabins and yurts. And they have beds and a table, right, and some of them have a couch. I think the furnishing varies a little bit from cabin to cabin, but you can see the inside of them if you go on the website, I believe.
You sure can. We have some pictures of those. The yurt's kind of a unique structure. I guess it has its origins back in Mongolia, and it's a kind of a tent that the nomadic tribes in Mongolia used to use, and I think in some cases still do. But basically, it's kind of a round, rigid-walled tent that has windows and doors. And we've got 3 of them located up here at the park. And each of those yurts have bunk bed facilities, propane heaters, tables and chairs, and wood floors, and they're really kind of nice units.
I want to get fishing, but before we go, we should tell them a little bit about this visitor center. What a beautiful building up here. What all you have available here? You've got the interpretive things that talk about the park and books for sale?
Right. Our visitor center is really kind of the focus of the park. It's right at the entrance of the area when you approach, and we do have a books sales office here for buying some nature books, but it also provides a little bit of an overview of just what this park and this area is all about through our interpretive displays.
The view out this, it's just incredible. You look down the valley and the little bit of snow on the mountain, the aspens are gold. What a great time to come up here. Is there a time it's not beautiful up here?
You know, there really isn't. I mean, it just kind of depends on the day. There's something new every day that you come up here.
Well, we need to get out and experience some of the fishing and show you more of the Sylvan Lake State Park.
I will tell you, though, that one of the most rewarding aspects of doing the show has been the way we're able to get involved with the youth. The different organizations, you know, many of the clubs and organizations we mentioned before put on tremendous youth activities. We've been able to take part in both filming those activities for the show and be there in person to help promote and get the kids involved. And I'll tell you, when you see the look on their face and know that you've created an angler for life, and the joy it brings to them, it's one of the greatest rewards in the world, and never any greater than when I saw that look on my own grandchildren's face. Dude, Cassidy, reel in, you got one.
Okay, this is heavy. Oh! Grandpa, the real one looks better.
Cassidy, reel, you got one.
Grandpa, I think the real one
Cassidy's got a fake worm and she's got one.
But I got one right away. I wanted to do it.
Well, I'm sorry, you can do the next one. You're gonna catch another one, aren't you?
Yeah.
You think it got off? No, you still got it. Oh, did it get off? It got off. It's okay if some of them get away, huh? Is it okay if we don't? You can't catch every one. Where's your bobber? Oh, you're getting one. Let's get one. Let's get it. Let's get it ready here. Ready? Oh, it got off. Oh, you got it. Reel it in. Turn the crank. You got it. You got it. Bring it in. Oh, it's a big one. You can hardly reel it in. Oh, wow.
It's coming here.
Yeah, here it comes. Here it comes.
Coming.
Here it is. Keep reeling. Keep reeling. Okay, now just stop reeling and we lift the rod and up it comes right to us. And you got it on a fake worm too, huh? You don't need real bait because you're a real fishing person, huh?
I saw a fish.
Who's the best fishing person here? You are? Are you sure?
Yeah.
You're better than me?
Grandpa, I got one. Let me fish you alive. I love you. Don't feel it. Oh, look.
You can,
Little fishy.
yeah, let me get the hook out. Okay, now you can touch it.
I'm right in it.
Want to give a kiss? No, you don't want to kiss it. Should we throw it back in the water? There it goes. Swim away for some other kid to catch, huh? Who had fun fishing?
Me. Me.
And we're never going fishing again, right?
Yeah.
We are. Who caught the most fish?
Me. Me. Me.
They're true fishermen, aren't they? Who caught the biggest fish?
Me. Me.
You know what? You know what the most important thing is? Who had the most fun?
Me.
You know, we've had many, many memorable events on Mountain States Fishing as we've been filming. Some of them have been giant fish, big bass or big pike. Some of it's been little fish and adventures as we went off into the wilderness and experienced things maybe we didn't expect to. Some of the screw-ups we've had that made us all laugh, or the bantering back and forth. I'll get down by you, and I'll try to go under the water.
Oh, can I give you a hand up?
I'm okay, I'm okay.
Your nuts okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Tell you this, stretch your river, you just relax for a second and think about something else, and it's swimming time.
Don't try this at home. We are professionals.
All these things have created such tremendous memories that I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life. But one of my fondest memories is of Timothy P. and Rural Route 3, the band that wrote the theme song for Mountain States Fishing, Take Me Fishing. And we were out fishing with them shortly after they wrote the song. And we were on Lake Granby, and all of a sudden they broke into these a cappella versions of songs, and nobody even cared if we caught a fish. And that will always be one of the warmest memories of Mountain States Fishing for me.
Everybody clap your hands. I don't know how on earth you're gonna clap your hands with a rod and reel in your hands, but give it a shot. You got soul, everybody knows it's alright. Oh, it's alright. Someday I'm gonna find me a woman who will love me and treat me real nice. If my rose gotta grow, my love she will know every morning, noon, and night. And she's got to say, I think I have a bite. Say it's all right.
I tell you now, I want to say thanks to someone really special. When she came on board, Mountain States Fishing was a fledgling little television show on one local channel that was playing just in Denver. And she became the producer of Mountain States Fishing. She runs the camera crews, does most of the editing, directs the shows. She's had to put up with me for a dozen years. It's Karen Cullum, my producer. Without her, Mountain States Fishing never would have grown to be a show that runs in front of millions and millions of people several times a week for over 600 weeks. She really made this show what it was, and I was glad that I got to come along for the ride. She also added a lot when she stepped in front of the camera. You know, Karen is so enthusiastic about the outdoors and fishing and has been such a great partner. Let's show a few clips of what she brought to this show when she was in front of the camera.
One thing too, you don't always have to have a fly rod to fish. What I'm using is a little 5-foot ultralight spinning rod with a like 4-pound test, because these fish are so little back in here that you got to give them a little chance, and it's more fun catching them and have a lot more play. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and toss that back out, and just kind of drag it right along the current, right along the top of the rocks, and see if we can catch another fish. The hard part is there's so many little shallow areas that you got to pull it quick before it catches on the bottom. Otherwise, all you're doing is catching the seaweed and the grass and stuff along the edges. Here's another one. Just another little one. But boy, they're fun. Oh, he's got some pretty red spots on him. He's starting to get his fall colors. Few red spots starting to turn. makes it fun is there's a lot of little fish, but every once in a while there's some big fish. But just to get out here, enjoy the outdoors, and you just never know what you're going to get caught up on.
You know, it's going to be hard not to get a little emotional here, considering what part of my life Mountain States fishing has played over the last almost 13 years. I'm going to have a tremendous amount of great memories to take with me from this show. And the greatest memories are going to be the response we got from you people out there. You kept us going. The emails, the letters, the phone calls, the coming up to us at the sports shows. And we'll still be in those venues. We want you to come up and talk to us. If you see us on the water, come over and say hi. You know, Mountain States fishing is going away, but there's going to be new and other local shows to show you the waters right here in your backyard. Chad LaChance will be launching a show just next week. So look for that. And there'll be others, young guys on the horizon, other shows. Hopefully we've started something that a lot of people will not only continue but build on and make better. And you know, while we were filming Mountain States fishing, occasionally we'd go on a vacation. And we would go to these farther away places or these more exotic trips like Alaska, the Bahamas, some right here in the Rocky Mountains. And out of that, you folks used to say, hey, we like the local fishing. Or if we didn't do them, you said, we like those trips. So as Mountain States fishing goes away, the spin-off that came out of that, Angling Adventures, will continue. So we're not going to quit fishing entirely. We're going to still travel the world. We're going to bring you those shows that we built on that same concept of the show not being about me, but about being an experience that you can go out and enjoy yourself, and taking you there in a way that shows you what it's like and that proving to you you can do it, and hopefully getting you excited. So as Mountain States fishing fades away, don't forget to continue to join us every Saturday, 9 o'clock on Altitude, as we travel the world and take you on some great angling adventures.